The Arizona Coyotes are heading into Sharks territory to take on the Barracuda. Let's talk about it.
You're Locked On Coyotes, your daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the show, everybody. This is Locked On Coyotes, #1 daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes. I am your host, Robyn Leonio, alongside Matthew Jacobson. We want to thank everyone for making this show your first listen every day. We are free and available everywhere you get your podcasts. We got a great show on today's episode. We are going to it's only been about a week, Matthew, but let's talk about the Coyotes against the Sharks again. They're going against each other freaking twice in
once so far.
Well, they're going against each other twice in a week, with this being the
funny?
second time.
These teams don't play again until the day before my birthday, as I am inevitably getting closer and closer to 30 and the inevitable grave. So that's fun. That's a fun factoid. God, this team is terrible. Yeah. The Coyotes better win this. Like I just.
Oh no, we've talked about this before. Look, my point stands, and I will elaborate on it as we go more into the show. But my point still stands from last week, Matthew, that the Coyotes better curb stomp this team because the Sharks are god awful.
Yeah. I also want to bring up the Arizona Coyotes schedule real quick just to double check something, because they're obviously tonight they are going to be in San Jose to take on the Barracuda, and they go to Colorado on the 23rd. So we got a couple games before the holiday break before we return to Mullet on the 27th for a rematch with Colorado, and then end the month on the road in Anaheim. And I don't remember the bets we made on this show, Robyn. I genuinely don't, but I'm starting to get a little nervous because I do remember something about winning X amount of games.
I think if they won, was it 6 out of 7, then Shirtless Fat Guy will return.
Oh my God! I'll have to fact check that, but I'm a little scared because the team is back to playing decent hockey. That first period being an exception against the Senators, but then they battled back and they didn't go away and they win that one in regulation 4-3. Coming up, I think they can beat Colorado at least one of those two games. And San Jose has to be another win because this team is god awful in so many categories. Robyn, they are 30th overall in the penalty kill. The Coyotes they have the 12th ranked power play. That power play, you want to pad it up a little bit, do it against the Sharks. They are 32nd in goals for per game, 2.09. The Coyotes are 18th with 3.06, almost an entire goal difference. And the Sharks are giving up 3.91 goals a game, the worst in the NHL, where the Coyotes are giving up 2.87, which is 11th. They're in the top half of the league with that. They are on a 6-4-0 stretch for the last 10, a 3-game winning streak. San Jose is on a 3-game losing streak, 4-5-1 in their last 10. So the home team has a reason to play hard to bounce out of this streak, but they are so inept in so many different aspects. I don't see how the Coyotes lose this unless they are lazy, frankly, because what can you say positively about the San Jose Sharks team this year, minus the fact that they bounced back from 0-11-1, I think it was?
Not a lot. There's not a lot to say about this Sharks team. I mean, look, and I think anyone who's a Sharks fan will be able to probably will agree with this statement. The Sharks are on the tank for Celebrini train right now. Mm-hmm. That's what they're doing. So, like, it doesn't surprise me that they're this bad. But it's, and I think that's kind of why I'm even looking even more so. Like, if they're this kind of team, the Coyotes are another kind of team. It better end in a certain way. The last time was a little disappointing. Yeah, sure, it's still a shutout. So, even though it was 1-0, but say what you will. It was. I was not impressed enough. I said, I wanted like a 6-1 win. I want to see like a similar thing this time. Like I want to see that. I want to see and yes, this is even in San Jose too. Not that it's going to make much of a difference because San Jose doesn't sell out their games. In fact, they are among the bottom of in attendance. I want to bring this up really quick, Matthew, because you and I were talking yesterday on yesterday's show about San Jose's attendance versus Winnipeg's attendance. I was correct in saying that Winnipeg has less attendance total than San Jose. However, I was also wrong. So I was right and I was wrong. I have the stat right here if you want to take a look at it. The Sharks are the worst in the league in attendance percentage by quite a substantial amount at 75.8% attendance. So out of 17,400, whatever, they only sell 2,220, like 13,220. Like, not good.
You know who sells out all their games though?
Arizona.
The Yep, the Coyotes sell out all their games.
They do sell out all their games, and those that say they don't, because the saying was that it's a 5,000 seat venue. It's a 5,000 seat for most other events. When it's NHL, it actually goes down to 4,600 for because a lot of the suites and other seats are taken out or otherwise unavailable. So 4,600 is the number. 4,600 is the number that is tickets sold in attendance every game.
Yeah, they sell out. People like to look at like, oh hey, I see a couple empty seats. Every ticket's sold. I don't care if the entire building's empty. As long as those tickets are sold, I don't care.
I do want to comment on that empty seats at Mullet Arena thing. You're gonna notice empty seats more often because of a major reason. Because there's only one bowl. It's a lower bowl. It's just a single bowl. And many times fans will get out of their seats to go to purchase concessions.
Those lines
are
ridiculous in the breaks.
Or they're roam around. So like, and because it's a smaller venue, you'll notice that more.
You're also going to notice more because a lot of the tickets that they have to that are for like friends and family, I noticed, tend to be in those nice club area. Also, a lot of people that buy tickets in the club area, they are eating up on the top of the concourse. Like you can literally see when they pan around, a bunch of people's like hanging out up top. There's also like some tables one you could sit at, and like, a lot of people just hang out up there. It kind of feels more like a social hour type thing. So like, of course, they're not going to be in the physical seat. They're up like either eating or just socializing, because for some reason people that are spending a lot of money on tickets show up to hang out, which I'm still a little baffled by. But you know what? If I had screw you money, I probably would do the same, but just not at hockey because I love hockey.
Oh yeah, no. If I had that kind of money, I will legit get glass level seats and be there. And like, that's assuming I return to my days of being, a super fan rather than a reporter these days, which
you've been ruined by the reporter life. You can't cheer anymore.
I can't. No, you're right. I can't. It's so hard. It's a life we choose though. That's why we tell people, if you love sports, yeah, sure, you can get into sports journalism, but you have to get in for the right reason, not only because you love sports, because if that's the only reason, it will ruin you. It will ruin your perception of sports.
We're a little off track. I think we should take a break and then get right back into the preview, talking about the matchup between the Arizona Coyotes and the San Jose Sharks / Barracuda. I am just being a jerk. The San Jose fans, the audience, we're just having a little bit of fun. Anyway,
that'll be coming up right after this.
And today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or your money back, because eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay guarantee fit available only to U.S. customers.
All right, Matthew. I want to point out something that I saw on our YouTube channel. It was a comment that we got on our most recent episode regarding the win over Ottawa, and I'm sure this is a comment responding to what I said. It's like, I want to know what message was said between the first and the second period of that game against Ottawa. And a commenter goes out and responds with this message. The same message needs to be addressed before the next game against the Sharks, as they only beat them 1-0. Should be to slap them around.
Oh, yeah, because realistically, it should. When teams are genuinely better than other teams, and look, it's the National Hockey League. There isn't an actual such thing as an easy win. You're playing against professionals. No. But if your team is better than another team and you're a serious team, a serious playoff team, contending team, whatever stage your team is at, you got to win those games. You're not going to win 100% of those games, but you got to win them more often than not, and you got to win them a little more convincingly than a really boring grind fest where there's only one total goal against the team that scores the least amount of goals in the league, Robyn.
You're right. And with all those stats you mentioned too, with as poor as a penalty kill they have versus where the Coyotes are in their power play. Like, there are so many different stats that you can go through to kind of point things out. And we mentioned, some of the better players for the Sharks. One of their extremely young guys, and William Eklund is one that you can't overlook. Mm-hmm. However, I felt like in the last week since we last talked about it, I felt like he's cooled down a little bit. I feel like there's not been enough to just. I think the Sharks have had a really tough last week. Their last game, the same night as the Coyotes rallied against the Senators, the Sharks lost 4-1 to the Kings.
Yeah, because since the Kings game, he's only played 2 games. He has the 1 assist against Colorado on the 17th, and then nothing against the Kings. I feel like the Coyotes. I could be wrong here. This might just be a perception thing. It feels like the Coyotes played more games since, even though they played the exact same amount since. I don't know what the perception problem is on that, but
it's the emotional trauma that they bring to the Coyotes fans. That's what it is.
But like, I'm trying to find anything else to comment on with San Jose, and I'm looking at a couple other stats, other team stats throughout the standings. So obviously it's kind of surface level stats, but I do like to bring it up. Their goal differential, Robyn. Chicago's, from what I can tell, is the second worst at -38. Where do you think San Jose lies with their goal differential?
Ooh, God. So Streaky said Chicago is the second worst.
Let me just double check one more time. Yes,
they're Chicago's second worst, and San Jose is the worst. And what did you say Chicago's was one more time?
-38.
-38. San Jose's -52.
So close. -61.
God.
Now, one more thing of note: the Coyotes on the road, sub 500 record. They're 5-8-2 to this point. So through 15 games. San Jose at home, it's a very mediocre record, but 6-7-2. The Coyotes, I don't know if it's poor travel or whatever. I have no idea. I genuinely cannot speak to what's going on with the team on the road. You're going up against a team that's okay at home.
I think they've had tougher matchups on the road so far.
They've had a lot of East Coast stuff, I've noticed, because you started off on the East Coast. They had another East Coast swing for 3 games of the 4-game losing streak. I feel like that might kind of, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of the correct word. I almost said like obfuscate. I'm pretty sure that is not the correct word I'm thinking of, but it kind of like shadows it a little bit. I think is
Yeah.
a little closer to what I'm actually trying to say.
Mm-hmm. I hear that. But I feel like this is an opportunity to kind of get, to strengthen your away record because, yeah, sure, like San Jose might be okay at home, but again, we're talking about a San Jose team that's just really bad in general. Like, really?
Like honestly, I'm trying to find really anything to genuinely praise San Jose for, and I guess Blackwood's trying is kind of the like I'm trying to look for anything. I like to live in my Coyotes bubble, but I'm trying to look for anything really. Tomas Hurdle's like 5 points below a point per game, but then again, you expect something like that out of Hurdle. He's still excellent. Being on a bad team is not going to change that. But like, I don't really know what else you want me to say, Robyn. It's a matchup against a terrible team. The Coyotes need to get better on the road. It's an opportunity to do that. The Coyotes are better in so many different aspects, from the power play to the penalty kill to goals for and goals against per game. This shouldn't be close. I'm a little annoyed that the matchup at Mullet was as close as it was. This is a bit of an opportunity for redemption.
Yeah, no. I'm actually looking at something right now, and I'm looking at like the team graphing right now on Money Puck, and every single metric that I'm doing on that specifically for graphing purposes, the Sharks are like, yeah, there's sure some teams that are in the bad quadrant, but the Sharks are firmly in like the bottom corner, like that far corner of bad. Like even the Blackhawks are slightly better in some of these quadrants, in some of these graphs. The Sharks are the only one in which they're so bad that they're in that far corner in each one.
I guess on a positive note, through the first period, the Barracuda and Roadrunners are tied at 1. Is that something positive for San Jose?
Maybe, sure,
maybe. This episode's losing steam very quickly, isn't it? I feel like we are.
I mean, because normally we're like, oh yeah, the Senators have this going for them. Obviously with the Senators, even though they're a bad team, it's like, oh yeah, they, the Chikrin storyline. When we talked about any other team, they're good teams or at least halfway decent teams that you can easily talk about something. The Sharks, outside of what we've already mentioned, like some of the players, there isn't anything going for them. And like I said earlier, they're on the tank for Celebrini train right now. Like that's the only thing going, that they have among the best odds to draft Macklin Celebrini, but that's future, not now.
You know what? You know what's distracting me right now, Robyn? Like genuinely distracting me.
What's that?
Ottawa's played 27 games. Everyone else, except for like 2 teams, has played 30 plus. Why do certain teams play so many? Like the Kings played 28. Vegas has played 33. What is the disparity here? What is going on here? Usually the Coyotes are the ones playing some of the lower amount of games. That's how little I have to say about this matchup, Robyn. I'm looking at the standings, trying to find stuff, and then I just get distracted, and I'm like, how come they've only played this amount of games?
It really is interesting. But what we're gonna do though is we're gonna talk about get a rapid fire 3 keys to the game, as well as a predictions, courtesy of our friends at FanDuel. But first, we're gonna take a quick word from our sponsors on today's show. And today's episode is brought to you by Sleeper. A new NHL season can bring all sorts of possibilities. Clayton Keller can score 50 goals. The Arizona Coyotes can hoist the Stanley Cup. And you can win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our #1 choice of daily fantasy sports, especially daily fantasy hockey, because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. All you got to do is pick whatever players that you want to win to try to get that 100 times your money, and you play alongside your friends. and more than one, not just NHL. You can do NFL, NBA, MLB, college football on Sleeper. Entries can be made in under a minute. All you got to do is pick whether or not studs like Nathan McKinnon or like Michael Carcone, who's been hot lately, even Michael Kesselring, record more or less than their sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, plus, minus, and more in a given game. To win 100 times your bet on Sleeper, you need to quickly predict the outcome of 8 player stats. You heard me, Coyotes fan. You can win 100 times your money playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. Start paying attention, nail your picks so you can start winning big. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL. You get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper terms of use for details and locational availability. All right, Matthew, let's get to a rapid-fire 3 keys to today's game for the Arizona Coyotes to get a win over the San Jose Sharks at the SAP Center in San Jose.
3 keys to the game. I feel like this is generic, but I'm just going to throw special teams back up there because you have to take advantage of power play opportunities against San Jose. It's San Jose. It is literally the worst penalty kill in the league. I think that's a freebie. That's a gimme. I think we'll make this the second key because the first key probably should be effort. We've seen historically with this team, for whatever reason, they'll rip off wins against teams they shouldn't beat, especially when they're rebuilding or they're struggling, and then they'll play down to competition. The effort needs to be there like you're facing one of the better teams. And the third, should we focus on specific players here? Or should we just be like, get pucks deep, get pucks in the net, win hockey games?
If you can get a focus, let's get a focus.
I would say use this game as your opportunity to find that rhythm with Ingram and Veggie. So let's say Veggie starts tonight, and then you kind of find that rhythm again to get the back on track. Because since Veggie right now is the hot hand for the last 2 games, and Ingram's been a little bit colder, try to get them back to like that proper equilibrium. I think is the right word.
I think you're correct on that. I think especially knowing that Colorado is coming up, like you want Ingram to be ready for Colorado. You want both of them, let's be real, both of them to be ready for Colorado, because you want to be able to trust either one to start against currently the best team in the division and one of the best teams in the conference.
Yeah, so it's just making sure that everyone's good to go, and especially if one is playing better right now, maybe Ingram can use the extra night off, and then he gets back on track for the Colorado game. So basically, just trying to refine that balance, and obviously, I still think Ingram's a starter, but if he's just coming off a really bad start, sometimes you just need a little bit of a reset.
Yeah, sometimes something like that is absolutely needed.
Also, Winnipeg is technically the best team in the division by 1 point.
Game in hand, though, points percentage?
Points percentage 625 for Colorado, 661 for Winnipeg, because there's 31 games for Winnipeg, 32 for Colorado, and the points are 41 and 40. So it goes Winnipeg, Dallas, Colorado, but it's 41, 40, and 40 points respectively, with a point percentage of 661, 667, and 625. Don't tell me how. Dallas is 1 less point. That's why I'm like, because the point percentage is higher.
Winnipeg is I think not even in our is like number 3 in our Locked On NHL Central Division power rankings. So
I guess y'all might want to take a double check at that. I don't even care that much for Winnipeg, but you can't let Kyle Capobianco's team sneak up on you like that.
Well, what we're going to do now, though, is we are going to take a quick look at our betting lines, courtesy of our partners at FanDuel. Matthew, the Coyotes are 1.5 favorites, with the money line at -164, plus 136 for the San Jose Sharks. Total points is 6.5.
I hate this team because I don't know how to project this. Because if you look at the numbers, they'll probably like they should only give up 1 goal and they should score between 3 and 5 with how bad San Jose has been and how much better they are, and if you could take advantage of your power plays. But every time, it feels like more often than not, whenever I am guessing the Coyotes score so many more goals than their opponents, it's a much closer game. I mean, I technically got 4 goals scored correct against Ottawa. I did not get the 4-1 final score correct. So it kind of has to come down to, I'm just going to throw something at the wall and see what sticks. I'll go with the under, but I want it to be like a 5-1 finish so the Coyotes win.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm going to go with the over on this one, but not by a lot. I really want to see a domination game. I just really, I feel like we all need to see it, right?
Kick
Whatever, like
in the teeth.
Kick him in the teeth, punch him in the throat, whatever, whatever term you want to use. Like, over that, I'm going to take the points for the Coyotes. By the way, that the odds on the puck line, the money line, -1.5 for the Coyotes, which is at +146. I will take that with my final score being 5-2. Coyotes win.
Interesting. Okay. I'll still take a 5-2 win. I wouldn't complain about that. As long as the save percentages are fine. We still got to make sure Veggie's numbers are good for that trade.
There you go. Right. Any final thoughts?
Talk about the assets. Come on, guys. We got to manage our assets properly.
Oh yeah, let's remember this is still a rebuilding team. You got to make sure you can figure out, what's going to be good for still building this team as they become even more ready for the playoffs in a couple of years, or maybe even next year. Who knows?
It'd be really fun, actually. If they first off, if they make the playoffs in the mullet, this would be the funniest thing ever. They should definitely do that at least once. Why not this year? But it'd be funny if they finally got like the Veggie trade done. I know one of the teams that has a need potentially is Carolina. I know Edmonton had a need. I'm not sure what their need is currently still. It'd be hilarious if they made a trade for like a forward or someone they can use that helps with a playoff push, and it ends up being like a playoff team trade. That would be very entertaining for me.
Where the Coyotes end up being like essentially turning into buyers.
Well, more like a mutually beneficial trade type thing, where it's like it helps both teams in the same year.
Interesting thought.
Nice little positive thought for you on this Thursday edition of Locked On Coyotes.
Anything to close things off with?
I am happy this episode's done because I don't know how to talk about the Sharks. It's not like the Coyotes are scoring 4 goals a game right now and playing the best hockey I've seen. They're just playing decent hockey, and they're going against the worst team in the league. I struggled to get through that one.
Yeah. And what struggles is, as everyone knows, is myself as a San Jose native. It's
we don't care about that. We're a Coyotes podcast. You could shove it with that one. You could shove it, San Jose fan.
I will. Let's scale back on that. I'm just calling myself a San Jose native right now.
You know what? It's funny because I will go out of my way at any point in time to take shots at U of A and San Jose just because you have ties.
I mean, would I expect anything less from my co-host?
No. How else are we going to keep it entertaining? We got to at least make people think we like each other. Come on now. It isn't just contractually obligated for us to be here.
Well, that's going to be it for today's episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. If you'd like what you heard, don't forget to leave a review, like, comment, subscribe if you have yet to already. We're available everywhere you get your podcast, including on YouTube, SiriusXM, and ad-free on Amazon Music. Don't forget to interact with us on social media. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/LockedOnCoyotes. and on X at LO_Coyotes. I'm personally at Robyn_Leonio. Matthew Jacobson is at the Easy Sports Guy. Interact with us, ask a question you might have. We might answer right back or on a future episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. Thanks again, everyone, for listening to today's episode. Hope you guys are staying safe out there. Hope you guys are staying healthy. And don't forget to howl on.